So recently I completed the Bataan Memorial Death March. That's why I got this BMF title here, because I'm a BMF myself, because it was the second time I've completed the Bataan Memorial Death March, which is a 26-mile grueling ruck march through the desert of the White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico. And it inspired me to think that maybe you would like some ruck marching tips. And so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna give you some ruck marching tips. Why? Because I'm the baddest motherfucker. What's up, my friends? Okay, of course, I did not get this for completing the Bataan Memorial Death March. I did get it for myself as a gift because I got a thing for championship belts, but nonetheless, doing the Bataan made me kind of think that maybe it'd be a good opportunity to kind of, talk about some ruck marching tips, right? That's a really tough road march to do, and there's some tough road marches you'll do in the Army or in the military. So I thought maybe this would be a good opportunity to give you guys a little bit of that wisdom that I've got. Now, of course, in the Army, you will have moments where you'll do road marches, and sometimes you won't. It really depends on the units you're in. It may not necessarily depend on your MOS. Sometimes it can, but a lot of times it depends on the units, because there are definitely even some units that maybe do a lot of road marches, don't do a lot of road marches, and even if you are someone that works in supply, someone that works in an admin type of position, because your unit does a lot of road marches, you may find yourself doing a lot of road marches. The length of those road marches can definitely vary, right? It could be something as simple as maybe just a 4 or 5 mile road march, or it could be 12-miler or more. Especially a lot of infantry units like to do the 12-miler road marches, and they have a standard, I believe it's less than 2 hours. You got to do 12 miles in less than 2 hours. But otherwise, there's a lot of road marches you might do in the Army that are more of tactical road marches, where you're kind of staying together, you're doing it in a tactical kind of way, and you're just following the person in front of you. And then some that may be kind of like a individually led type of thing, and you have maybe a time limit, and you have to try to get finished with that road march, that ruck march, in a certain time frame. Now, I've even got some footage I'll throw in here of the Bataan Memorial Death March and some other random footage of soldiers doing ruck marches, just for your entertainment while I'm talking about this. But the first step I want to talk about is a very basic tip that I give for a lot of things, right? If people ask me, hey, I need to get better at doing push-ups, the easiest way to get better at doing push-ups is doing push-ups, right? You're gonna eventually get better by doing that. And that's really the same thing with road marches. Now, when it comes to me doing the Bataan Memorial Death March for the second time, I didn't really take my own advice on that, and I think I paid for it a little bit. The first time I did the Bataan Memorial Death March, I did a lot of training for it. I did a lot of road marches, I did a lot of cardio-based things, but then I found for something as grueling as that, 26 miles through some really rough terrain, my legs weren't strong enough. While I had great cardio and my feet felt pretty good, I did not have enough leg strength to really kind of push myself. Now, I did actually really good my first time compared to my second time, but it's probably part of the training that I did. Because I did a lot of road marching, it helps to do a road march. So that was very helpful, where I did not kind of follow my tips when the second time came around and I did that Bataan. Because the second time around, I was remembering that my legs were pretty tired. So I worked really heavily on working out my legs, which is also really good if you are someone that's gonna be doing a long road march. If you're gonna be doing something 12 milers or more, yeah, you wanna build up the strength in your legs, because it's not all about your feet and your legs and just practicing road marching. It's gonna be a little bit about the muscle strength you have in your legs for those longer ones. Now, if it's a short one, not a big deal, but longer ones like 12 and above, those probably require a little bit more muscle strength. But I did not do that on my second time around going to do the Bataan. I focused a lot on my muscle strength and not so much the road marching. So when it came time for me to do the Bataan the second time, my legs felt pretty strong, but my feet got beat up. My cardio was kind of a little bit degraded. And so I did not follow my own tip there. But nonetheless, if you're training to do a road march, the best way to get better at doing road marches is to just get out there and do the road marches. Hit the streets, do different terrain, get out there on the roads, whatever, and ruck. And specifically do different terrains, right? If you just stick to just roads, you're on the sidewalk or whatever, you're in a park or whatever, that's not great. You want to try to kind of mix up the terrain. Maybe try to find, especially rough terrain. Like when I did the Bataan, there's a lot of sand in there, and it's hard to train for that, but maybe on the beach or whatever. I know a lot of people will do ruck marches on the beach because of how intense the training can be for doing it that way. So if you have that environment, great. If not, just find different environments, maybe some hills, maybe some kind of rough terrain or whatever like that, and that really kind of helps build up the different muscle groups, because if you're just walking on a solid concrete ground or something like that, it doesn't work the same muscles as if you're having to kind of move your body a little bit to get through some sand, or to climb over a few small rocks, or whatever type of terrain, right? If it's nice and smooth, it doesn't quite get the same workout effect as some pretty rough terrain does. Now you really got to take care of your feet, right? That's one of the hardest things that's taking a lot of impact while you're walking on a road march, is taking care of your feet. While you're doing the training, while you're doing an actual ruck march in the army or in the military, you got to make sure your feet are being taken care of. And a lot of people recommend like things like moleskin, right? It's just like this tape that you'll put over your feet that really helps with blisters, and it's very good stuff. I don't really use moleskin, but there's this other stuff that I've used, this combat ready tape that was pretty good, and I used it on both of the Bataan Memorial Death Marches, and it works great for really long road marches to help prevent against blisters, maybe even smaller road marches if you're prone to blisters. Having something to protect your feet is a really good idea. Now, pantyhose is another one you may hear. Now, it's a little bit kind of debatable, I think, with that, because I've heard people say it works great for them. I've never tried it, but my friend David, on the last Bataan Memorial Death March we just did, he tried pantyhose and he said it was horrible. It was not working at all. It was really messing up his feet. It did help with like chafing, which is another kind of tip. Make sure you protect against that. Maybe it's using Gold Bond, maybe it's using AND was a really good one that my friend David did during the first time we did the Bataan Death March, and he said it worked great. But the pantyhose thing, it seems like mixed. It's definitely a thing where you probably have to try it first, right? Do some kind of like a shorter road march. Maybe it's like a 3 miler, 5 miler, 6 miler, something like that, to see if it really works. And that's usually pretty key with anything as far as trying things before you do it during the actual event, right? If you know you got a big road march coming up in the Army, you guys are gonna be going for 12 miles, 6 miles, whatever it is, and you're trying to prepare for that, make sure to try that out before the actual event. Because, for example, the pantyhose thing, if pantyhose does not work well for you and it irritates you and makes your feet, get blisters or whatever like that, you don't want to find that out during the time when it actually counts, like my friend David did, right? You want to probably try it out with some kind of training, see if it feels good and kind of is comfortable and may help you during the actual event. And then if it does, cool. If it doesn't, then you eliminated it then. That way it doesn't affect you while you're trying to do the actual ruck march that really counts. The right shoes are really key too. If you're in the Army, you're kind of stuck wearing the Army combat, boots that they issue you, but that doesn't mean you can't like try nice ones or try different ones that are, more comfortable, break them in really well. If you're in basic training, you're kind of just screwed and you're kind of stuck with the ones they issued you. But once you get out of basic training, then maybe you can try out different boots to find ones that are more comfortable for you. Make sure they're broken in. Don't like wear them for the very first time during the ruck march, because that can definitely probably cause some blisters possibly. So you want to make sure that they're nice and broken in before you're actually, doing some heavy ruck marching. Hydration is key. Now, a lot of times you'll have like a camel pack with you, which I recommend. That's a great way to do a ruck march, is to have a camel pack in your bag, have the hose there. Makes it easier to drink that water or the drink that you're drinking while you're going, which I'll kind of get to the drink you're drinking here in a minute, but that's an easy, convenient way to be able to continue ruck marching while staying hydrated. For shorter ruck marches, there's a lot of things you can do. You could do straight water, which is probably usually what most people are going to recommend, is just doing straight water because it's going to hydrate you. Another thing I like to do, if you're like me, I hate water. I try to avoid water as best as possible. Maybe I'll do flavored water or something along those lines, but maybe for shorter ones, you might be like me and you'd rather do Gatorade. For shorter ones, that works probably pretty good. The thing where it gets tricky is for the longer ones. You're doing 12 milers, longer than that, like when I did the Bataan for 26, straight water is not going to cut it, and neither is straight Gatorade, because I need to be hydrated, but I also need electrolytes. So for bigger ones, like I did during the Bataan, I did a mixture of water with like liquid IV or something similar to that gave me the electrolytes. So it gives me the hydration plus the electrolytes, because straight water is not enough and straight Gatorade would not be enough, because that'd be probably too much sugar. Even if I did zero sugar, then I wouldn't get the same hydration like I get from water. So you had to kind of find a happy medium. I almost thought about during that ruck march doing 2 camel packs, doing one with straight water and one with Gatorade, and that might have been good, but I was trying to kind of reduce weight a little bit. So I just, in the end, decided to do water with liquid IV. And as I said, I hate water, but oh my God, during something as grueling as that, water was amazing. When I'd stop by the water stations and drink some water instead of drinking out of my camel pack, that water was like the greatest water in the world, and I hate water. But shorter road marches, right? You can probably do either or, water or Gatorade, but longer ones, you probably gotta find a happy medium to get both the hydration plus the electrolytes. A really good tip is to train harder than the actual ruck march, at least in some cases, really. Because if you're gonna be doing something like, you know that, hey, we're gonna be doing a 6 miler, an 8 miler, right, on this day in the Army or whatever, then maybe if you're training up for it prior to, maybe you do something like some longer ruck marches. Or maybe if you know, hey, we have to carry a minimum of 35 pounds in my ruck, maybe you train with 45 pounds. That way it makes it to where you've done harder work than the actual ruck march. So when it comes time to actually do it, it's easy, right? The training was harder than the actual ruck march, and that's really what you want, to a certain extent, really. Now, for longer ones, like if you're doing something like 26 miles, which I've talked to some people in the Army that have done stuff like that, where they've done 20 milers, 26 milers, whatever, right? Then that might be a little bit kind of crazy, because that's a pretty grueling type of thing that's gonna probably put you out for like a week or something like that, depending on your body, and then you're not able to really train up very well to be real prepared for the ruck march because of how grueling it was if you do something that extreme. So in those cases, you probably got to keep the ruck marches, you know, not to be over the distance, but you can still increase your weight. So there are different ways you can kind of do some of that stuff, where either you're increasing the weight, increasing the miles, but the miles, depending on how long the road march is, you get a little too crazy and it can hurt you in the end. So in the end, you're trying to reach the goal of your training was harder than the actual ruck march itself. And that's a good tip to kind of help you be better prepared for it. Bring some supplies. Now, if you're in basic training, you're kind of limited on what you can bring, but at your unit, you know, it can help you in certain kind of things. If you are prone to cramping, a lot of people like to use pickle juice, right? My friend David during the last ruck march, and other people I saw during the Bataan, they like to use pickle juice because it helps with cramping. I don't really have too bad of a problem with cramping, so I don't know for me if it worked really well, but for some people, they say it works amazing, it works great. And they have like different little packets you can get of just straight up pickle juice and drink that, and somehow it helps with cramping. I've also heard mustard, but most people I've talked to said the pickle juice works better than mustard. Another one would be like some kind of salty snacks, like maybe some beef jerky, or maybe like some, you know, salted peanuts or something like that. It helps with kind of holding in the hydration if you're gonna sweat it out really bad. Things with certain other kind of ingredients in there are also really helpful to help you kind of hold in that. So doing a little bit of research as to what foods can be really helpful with holding in your hydration can be really good, or just even restoring some of your energy, because you're gonna burn a lot of energy, especially if you're doing a really long road march, like in the Army, the 12 miler ones you do like in a lot of infantry units or whatever. And you wanna make sure that you've got things to kind of replenish that, because you may not have an opportunity like stop on the side to take lunch or whatever type of thing, and you may need some of those snacks to kind of keep your energy levels up. There's also some other things based on the environment. If you're in like a really hot area that's gonna be very sunny, maybe some kind of sunscreen of some sort. Chapstick sometimes is helpful to some people because their lips are gonna get chapped, so you gotta prepare for the environment as well. But for my viewers out there that are maybe currently in the Army, maybe some veterans, or hell, maybe even some people that have a lot of experience doing ruck marches because they just do it on this side hobby for fun type of thing, I want to hear down in the comment section down below, what are some additional tips, maybe some cool tricks that you found that work really well for different types of environments, different types of ruck marches that could benefit somebody watching this video. Let me know, comment down below. If you made it this far in the video, well, you're a BMF yourself for making it this far and not getting too distracted and clicking away from the video. And down in the comment section down below, I want to know what motivates you as far as music wise. Do you have a song that really gets you amped up, really fired up? I want to hear what song that is that gets you pumped up, because I want to maybe listen to it. Maybe it's something that's going to help me during a workout or something else, or somebody else is going to check it out and be like, that's a good song. That really gets me amped up to get a good workout in. So what's your top song that really gets you fired up? Let me know down in the comment section down below. That'll let me know that you are a BMF and you made it this far into the video. But nonetheless, if you'd like to help support what I do here, there's a lot of free ways you can do so by hitting that subscribe button and hitting that thumbs up. If you want to buy merch, you can visit my website, link down in the description box down below. You can do a super thanks. You can join Chaos Elite. But nonetheless, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Christopher Chaos, and I'll see you next time. See ya.